All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at number 2 from your quiz review. We've got a whole graph here of problems. Okay? So, if we're looking at this graph, can somebody please raise their hand and tell me what the vertex is? Yes, Jeff?
Yes.
For number 2. Somebody want to help Jeff out, Mitchell?
Okay.
It is 3, 7. Shh.
Okay.
Okay, so let's make a table using this information. Why am I making a table? We know we've got to put it into the function y equals a times x minus h squared plus k, right? I've got h and k. What am I trying to find when I make a table? I'm trying to find a. So we've got to have x and y. We've got to have the first differences, and we've got to have the second differences. So what I'm going to do from this point is I'm simply see these points right here? I've got 5 points. I'm just going to list them in my table. First hour I had a hard time figuring out where I got my table from. I'm just listing these points. So this first one, I've got -5, -1. Then I have -4, 5. Everybody needs to write this down. Everybody should be looking up here. Okay, then I've got -3, 7. Excuse me, yeah, -3, 7. I've got -2, 5. And I've got -1, -1. Why did I go up here and change that to -3? What did we forget? Yeah, it's -3 right here. When I plug it in, is it going to be negative? It's going to be positive because 2 negatives make that positive. All right, let's figure out our first and second differences. Our first difference, what is the difference between 1 and 5? -1 and 5.
6.
-1 plus what gives me 5? 6. -1 plus 6 gives me 5. Okay, what is, please don't shout things out, please raise your hands. How do I get from 5 to 7? Somebody raise their hand. 5 to 7, yes, Kyle?
2.
2. How do I get from 7 to 5? Please raise your hand. Feel it? Thank you. How do I get from 5 to -1? How do I get from 5 to -1? Yes, Kyle? -6. Okay, now I've got to get, you need to be writing this down. You need to be writing this down. How do I get to the second differences?
Do the same thing.
Okay, 6 to 2. What did I do? Went down 4. 2 to -2. Subtract 4 and -2 to -6. I would do at least 3 of them so you can see that they're all the same. Okay, how would I figure out my A value using this? Yes, Kyle? Divide the second difference by 2 so I know my A value is -2. Now I'm just going to plug it in. I've got y equals -2 times x plus 3 squared plus 7. Any questions of how I did that? Please ask now. If you look through the packet, you can see everything else we're doing. Anybody need another second? I'm about to turn the page. Okay, so do you guys think you are capable of doing number 1? Because this was number 2. All right, let's move on to number 3 then. Let's move on to number 3. I'm going to do A and C, and I'm going to have you do B on your own. Okay. Please raise your hand if you can tell me the A value for this problem. Please raise your hand. Jeff? -5. So write A equals -5. What does that -5 do to the function? What does that A -5 do to the function? Kyle. Okay, the A value tells us tell whether the graph is up or down. Which is it in this case? In this case, it's down. What else does the A value tell you? It tells you one more thing. You guys probably aren't real aware of this. It causes the graph to have a vertical stretch. It also, write all this down, causes the graph to have a vertical stretch. So when we multiply it by the whole number, it makes the graph stretch and look really skinny. When we multiply it by a fraction, what do you think it does? It makes it really wide. Good. All right, let's look at C. What is the K value for this? The K value equals, I heard somebody say it. Say it again. -2. What effect does the K value have on the graph? If we have, our normal graph is y equals x squared. Its vertex is on 0, 0. What happens when we change the K to -2? What does it affect? The x values or the y values? Y. And it makes the y values, so what do you think it does? If we change the y value from 0 to -2, what happens to the graph? Does it go up, right, left, or down?
Down.
How many?
2, 3.
The K value moves the vertex down 2 spaces. So I think you should be able to answer B if you know this. And we will go over the answers to 1, B, and the other one we're going to do before we take our quiz. Yeah. All right. Go ahead, you guys, and move to number 4. We are going to find the equation for this graph. Okay, moving on. All right, so here's our graph. Please raise your hand if you can tell me what the vertex is for this problem. Yes, Thomas? -2, 6 is my vertex. All right. So what do you think is the easiest way to graph this? What are we going to make? Table. How does the vertex help us make a table? It kind of starts us off. We need at least 2 points on either side. So I'm going to choose -2. I've got -2 as the vertex, so I'm going to choose -1 and 0. And all you're going to do is plug those numbers into the equation. So this is where I want you guys to practice with your calculator. So get your calculator out. You're going to retype this equation right here, except you're going to put a -1 in for x. So go to a calculator page, type in that equation, the equation right at the top of your paper, except instead of an x, you're going to put a -1. Do it right now. Let's go. It would be a +2, so you have -3, parentheses, -1, +2, and parentheses, squared, +6. What do you get? I want to make sure everybody can put this into their calculator. Derek, please put this in your calculator. You're not graphing it at all. You are putting it into your calculator page and finding finding the answer. You should not be graphing this. You are finding a specific number, which is why you should be on a calculator page. Okay, I'm going to do this out loud without putting it in the calculator. I said negative 1 plus 2 gives me 1. 1 squared is 1. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. Negative 3 plus 6 is 3.
My calculator won't do it. It's an error.
Then you're not plugging it in correctly. You're putting it on a graphing page, and I said 3 times it should be on a calculator page.
You're not supposed to graph it.
You have minuses there and not negatives.
Right here and up.
Your calculator is different.
Yeah, it says
Therefore, will not calculate it with that, which is a good thing to find out now or not. You probably have minuses. Yeah. So you have an X in here, and I said maybe 3 times. Plug in negative 1 for an X, and you never put the Y in. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, let's try the same thing with 0. What is 0 plus 2? What is 2 times, what is 2 squared? What is 4 times negative 3? What is negative 12 plus 6? There you go. Alright, negative 3 and negative 4 without calculating the answer, without plugging it into your calculator. What is negative 3? What is negative 4? Now, we're just going to plot those points. Simple as that. We're going to go 0. X value is 0. Y is negative 6. X value is negative 1. Y value is 3. X value is negative 2. Y value is 6. X value is negative 3. Y value is 3. X value is negative 4. Y value is negative 6. I am doing it that fast. I know you can plot points. All you're doing is plotting those 5 points, and you're done. It's very hard to plug in and find the answers on a graphing page, which is why I said 3 times do it on a calculator. Okay, so everybody gets how to plug these in. If you don't, you got to ask questions. Remember, you have to plug in numbers for X and hit equals. You never push Y equals into there because the calculator is going to be confused. All right. I'm going to move on. I am going to do number 6. You'll have to do number 5 for homework. Number 6 is going to be just like what we did for last night's homework, just like what we did for the warm-up. So number 1, can somebody tell me what the vertex is? Yes, Tyler? Negative 4 or 5. Can somebody raise their hand and tell me what the A value is and whether it goes up or down? Please raise your hand. Derek. Negative 3, and that means it goes down. So we've done step 1 and 2. Can somebody raise their hand and tell me what step 3 is? Somebody raise their hand. Sorry, what do I do? Before that, even. I got to set it equal to 0. Because if you try to subtract 5 from y, it's not going to work. So Star told us the second step, which is subtract 5 from both sides. So we get negative 5, the fourth step, thank you. Negative 5 minus 3 times x plus 4 squared. Can somebody tell us the 5th step? What do I do next? Divide by negative 3. So I get 5/3, or you can find that as a decimal, equals x plus 4 squared. What is the 6th step? Square root. I get 1.29